Tonight on News Prime, House of Representatives deliberating on a bill to extend time limits for prosecuting sexual offenders of minors. In business, Nigeria's stock exchange gains 26% on first trading week of 2025. On the foreign scene, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to resign from office. And in sports, Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk defends Trent Alexander-Arnold following poor display against Manchester United. Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agmofwegwe, reminding our viewers that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nigecomsat. Let's start tonight by telling you the House of Representatives is deliberating on a bill to extend time limit for prosecuting sexual offenses committed against girls under the age of 13. The bill, sponsored by Representative Beatrice Lowry, a member of the People's Democratic Party representing Demsa Numan Lamode Federal Constituency in Adamawa State, passed its first reading and is aimed at amending sections 218 and 221 of the Criminal Code Act. The existing section 218 provides that any person who has unlawful carnal knowledge of a girl under the age of 13 years is guilty of a felony and is liable to imprisonment for life with or without caning, but Lowry said the time limit is inadequate. He stated that the 2-month period is not enough to gather necessary evidence for a successful prosecution, thereby giving offenders an escape route from facing justice if the case is not pursued within that time frame. Niger State government has issued a warning to residents of certain communities in the state, urging them to avoid going to farms to prevent falling victim to improvised explosive devices, IEDs, planted by bandits. Bandits had killed 13 farmers in the Alawa community of Shiroro local government area of the state. The bandits were said to have tracked the farmers to their farms, killing them because they had provided intelligence on bandits' movements to security agencies. The arrest of Alaja Aishat Feyi Shara Elediye by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA is the latest conversation about the activities of drug lords and the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency's efforts to tackle trafficking in illicit substances. The anti-drug agency arrested her, a popular legal socialite, on New Year's Day following the interception and seizure of a truck conveying 44 jumbo sacks of imported cannabis. The 61-year-old Lagos socialite was arrested at her mansion in Okota area of the state following the arrest of Abidin Adio, her staff who drove a truck. Police Force Headquarters says its operatives of the Intelligence Response Team have arrested one Ogaga Dixon, a 35-year-old member of a notorious armed robbery syndicate responsible for the death of CSP Hassan Jega, the Divisional Police Officer of Agbaro Division in Delta State. Divisional Police Officer was killed on the 14th of October last year during a fierce gun battle between a team of police officers led by the deceased senior officer and the assailants after the team of policemen had foiled one of their robbery operations. Police Public Relations Officer ACP Muyuwa Adejobi stated that the operatives had earlier stormed the gang's den and engaged them in a fierce gun duel, leading to the neutralization of 4 of the gang members. A federal high court in Abuja has ordered Governor Monday Okpebholo of Edo State, the House of Assembly, and other parties in the suits filed by the 18 suspended local government chairmen in the state to maintain status quo. Justice Emeka Winte, in a ruling, gave the order after counsel to the plaintiffs and the Asamota moved a motion expedite to the effect. Earlier, Asamota, while moving the motion, had told the court that the plaintiffs, who are local government chairmen, were suspended by the State House of Assembly and their resolution transmitted to Governor Okpebholo. Benue State Governor Babangana Zulum has signed a sum of 615,857,950,000 naira 2025 appropriation bill into law. The governor assented to the bill during a brief ceremony at the council chamber of the government house in Maiduguri, the state capital. While assenting to the budget named Budget of Recovery and Continuity, the governor promised to complete outstanding projects made during his 2023 campaign promise. And still in the country's northeast, Gombe State Governor Muhammadu Yahaya has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to settling gratuity liabilities for state retirees. Yahaya disclosed that 17.2 billion naira out of the 21 billion naira inherited from previous administrations has been cleared. Speaking at the presentation of checks and payment of backlog of gratuities to state retirees, Governor Yahaya disclosed that his administration is committed to workers' welfare. Let's turn to politics now. The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, alongside other stakeholders in the party, have called for unity from the members of the APC in Kano State. Ganduje, who made the call during the 8th and 9th APC members Kano State House of Assembly Forum dinner, also urged the members to be united so as to wrest power from the incumbent New Nigeria People's Party administration in Kano State. River State Police Command has confirmed that 18 people have sustained severe injuries in a gas explosion that occurred in Orazi community in Port Harcourt. The incident happened on Sunday evening at a gas filling station, causing substantial damage to nearby buildings. The command spokesperson, SP Grace Iringe Koko, said this latest explosion is part of a series of gas and improvised explosive device incidents recorded in the state since 2024. In another development, Lagos State government says the enforcement of the ban on single-use plastics, also called SUPs, will commence in the next 2 weeks. Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokumbo Wahab, disclosed these while inspecting flood-prone areas and all ongoing projects, as well as new ones at Lagos Island and its environs. Wahab, in December last year, said the ban on the usage of styrofoam and SUPs for packaging is banned, stating that enforcement would commence from January 2025 following the increasing prevalence of plastic waste and its adverse impacts on the environment in recent years. On education, the West African Examination Council (WAEC) has announced a new initiative that will allow students receipt their West African Senior School Certificate Examination papers as early as January and February 2025. This marks a significant shift from the previous system, where candidates had to wait for the next private exam cycle. Head of Public Affairs at WAEC, John Kapi, disclosed this while explaining that the new program, referred to as WASI PC1, provides a faster route for students to improve their grades. And still on matters of education, University of Ilorin in Kwara State says it has introduced a system where unclaimed certificates could be collected through courier service. Registrar of the institution, Mansour Anfala, speaking with newsmen in Ilorin, the state capital, described the move as upgrading to international best practices. He noted that the move will allow prospective collectors receive their certificates through courier delivery. You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime on Global Television, coming to you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. When the rest of News Prime returns tonight, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited may continue servicing its crude for loan obligations till 2029. We'll bring you all of these details as well as foreign export stories after this short break. Please stay with us. This is Global Television, and you're watching the live broadcast of News Prime, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Let's begin the second half of this bulletin with business. Troops of 6th Division Nigerian Army have dismantled additional 20 illegal refining sites in the Niger Delta region and confiscated no fewer than 190,000 liters of stolen crude. This is coming barely 8 days after the troops, in their continued onslaught against oil thefts in the region, dismantled 20 illegal refining sites and confiscated 90,000 liters of stolen crude. Acting Deputy Director, 6th Division Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Danjuma Jonah, in a statement issued in Port Harcourt, said the operations were conducted between December 30, 2024 and January 5, 2025. The NGX Insurance Index, which tracks the performance of the insurance sector, began 2025 with a remarkable momentum, wrapping up the first trading week ending January 3rd with an impressive week-to-date gain of 26.9%. This outstanding performance marks the index's best trading week since 2013, with its value rising from 667.88 points to a noteworthy 847.59 points, supported by a robust trading volume of 679 million shares. In April of last year, the sector faced challenges due to the implications of bank recapitalization in the financial services landscape, resulting in a 10% decline in index points from April to May. Elsewhere, federal government has been urged to strategically reduce the cost of governance in 2025. A former director of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Dr. Titus Okworumo, gave the advice in an interview in Ota, Ogun State, noting that the high cost of governance has led to increased recurrent expenditure. The former director at the Apex Bank, heading research, said that debt servicing by the federal government has consequently increased from 9.8 trillion naira in 2023 to 12.1 trillion naira in 2024. And now time to turn to the oil and gas sector, where the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, says it may continue servicing its crude for loan obligations till 2029 as the demand for oil by domestic refineries increases. NNPCL's debt burden arises from several crude for loan agreements that have tied volumes of the country's oil production to various financial commitments. This is as the local demand for crude has continued to rise following the coming on stream of the Port Harcourt and Warri refineries, alongside the mega $20 billion Dangote Petroleum Refinery located in Lagos State. The Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund has developed a comprehensive program for the integration of the informal sector into the employees' compensation scheme. The fund Managing Director Oluwaseun Faleye confirmed this in a statement by the scheme's General Manager, Corporate Affairs, Wanchuku Ngige, saying the fund would tap into the immense potential of the informal sector in broadening access to its social safety nets in line with the poverty alleviation agenda of the federal government. He also stated that the national economy would benefit greatly if artisans, traders, and other small service providers are brought into the safety nets of the ECS, saying such move will drive national productivity and combat poverty. Tonight, we go foreign on the news with Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau saying he will resign. He said this at a news conference with a senior government source, saying the embattled Prime Minister has decided to leave office.
As Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election. I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night...
Sounds like a blow below the belt for Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, whose political fortunes plunged to new depths following the surprise resignation in December of his former finance minister and deputy prime minister, Chrystia Freeland. Let's turn to Canada's neighbor now, United States, where the President, Joe Biden, has banned offshore drilling across an immense area of coastal waters weeks before President-elect Donald Trump takes office. pledging to massively increase fossil fuel production. The ban encompasses the entire Atlantic coast and eastern Gulf of Mexico, as well as the Pacific coasts of California, Oregon, and Washington, and a section of the Bering Sea of Alaska. A White House statement says the declaration protected more than 625 million hectares of waters, noting that the ban does not have an end date and could be legally and politically tricky for Donald Trump to overturn. Norwegian Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre has expressed concern over billionaire Elon Musk's recent comments regarding the internal affairs of European nations. Støre joined other European leaders in voicing unease about the actions of the ex-social media platform holder and ally of Donald Trump. India moist guerrillas have killed 9 members of the security forces by detonating a roadside bomb that hurled their vehicle into the air. More than 10,000 people have lost their lives in the decades-long insurgency waged by the rebels who claim to be fighting for the rights of marginalized indigenous people in India's resource-rich central regions. Government forces have intensified efforts to suppress the long-running armed conflict, with approximately 287 rebels killed in 2024. That's according to official figures. Almost 1.5 million Germans have backed a police union push to ban fireworks on New Year's Eve after the latest celebrations were again marred by deaths, injuries, and arrests. Critics have long sought to end Germany's reckless use of pyrotechnics to ring in the new year, citing safety concerns, but also air pollution and the traumatic effects on domestic pets. This year, 5 people have died across Germany in accidents linked to legal and illegal fireworks, including powerful homemade devices, with many more people sustaining injuries. Let's find some excitement from the world of sports now. As the January transfer window remains open, European clubs are actively sourcing and finalizing deals to strengthen their squads for the second half of the season. This is as Napoli finalizes goalkeeper plans, as the club has settled its goalkeeper strategy and is set to sign a new contract that will Alex Merit at the club until 2026, with an option to extend until 2027, while Elia Capril will leave Napoli immediately to join Cagliari, and Simon Scoffet has been identified as Napoli's new backup keeper. Manchester United defender Diogo Dalot says he was stung into action by Ruben Amorim's plea for his senior players to step up and help pull the club out of their downward spiral. The Portugal international impressed during United's 2-2 draw with Premier League leaders Liverpool on Sunday, as he gave Trent Alexander-Arnold a torrid time. Before the trip to Anfield, United manager Amorim had urged the leaders in his squad to step up to help other members of the team who he said are sometimes afraid. Meanwhile, Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk has defended Trent Alexander-Arnold after his poor display against Manchester United, rejecting suggestions that Real Madrid's interest has had a negative impact on his teammates. Alexander-Arnold was at fault for Lisandro Martinez's opener in Sunday's 2-2 draw against Manchester United at Anfield, falling well below his usual high standards. The right-back's sloppy performance comes during a long-running debate over his future with the Premier League leaders. As we end Global TV's News Prime tonight, let's take a quick look at some of our big stories. The House of Representatives is deliberating a bill to extend time limits for prosecuting sexual offenses committed against girls under the age of 13. In business, the NGX Insurance Index, which tracks the performance of the insurance sector, began 2025 with remarkable momentum, wrapping up the first trading week ending January 30 with an impressive week-to-date gain of 26.9%. On the foreign scene, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says he will resign. He said this at a news conference with a senior government source, saying the embattled premier had decided to leave office. And finally, from the world of sports, we told you Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk has defended Trent Alexander-Arnold after his poor display against Manchester United, rejecting suggestions that Real Madrid's interest has had a negative impact on his teammates. And that's how we draw the curtains here tonight on News Prime on Global Television. Thank you everyone for watching. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times 276, and free to air on Night Comes Heart. We urge all of our viewers across the world to engage with us using our Global TV NG as well as other handles as you now see on your screen across all of our social media platforms. On behalf of the entire production team here tonight in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, who have made this production possible, I'm Uyag Mofwebe, and we will see you again.